Hello, everybody. Economic Ninja. We are being overrun in our country with migrants. And I have a story out of a town in Nebraska. It's a very interesting story. And I believe we're going to see this theme pop up all around America. Check out this title. It's out of NBC News. The town that can't live without migrants, but isn't sure it wants to live with them. This will blow your mind. Fremont, Nebraska has 3 massive meat processing plants that need workers. It also requires anyone renting to a home to sign a declaration that they're in the US legally. It says out of Fremont, Nebraska, big city mayors may be complaining about the economic impact of an influx of migrants, but the residents of a small city near Omaha can't decide how they feel. Fremont, Nebraska, population of 27,000, has 3 massive meat processing plants, and young locals leave in search for better jobs. Central American migrants have been taking their place in the slaughterhouses, especially after Costco opened a huge rotisserie chicken facility in 2019. We need these people, said Mark Jensen, president of the city council. We need this work done. It's what feeds the nation and the world. But instead of a welcome mat, for more than a decade, Fremont has had a controversial law on the books that tries to bar undocumented migrants from living within city limits. I'm going to stop right there and say I completely agree with that law. And here's the thing. We need people to be working with work visas. If they want to work in this country and they want to have a better life, they should be able to go down and file their work visas, pay taxes, and be part of our culture, but the proper way. And if this town can't find enough workers, those companies will go and find a place where they can get them. Let me know down below what you believe, if you agree with that. It says the city's citizens asked the city council to do something because it's pretty obvious that we had just become a haven for illegals, said city council member Paul Von Bren. Brenda Ray, who has lived in the Fremont area for 40 years, said she noted the change in the city's population and voted for the ordinance back in 2010. She said she doesn't have a problem with Central American arrivals if they are legal and they come in to speak American English. I completely agree with that as well. We are catering so much. Oh no, we're going to learn your language. You know, my wife told me in Germany, in a lot of Europe, they are disgusted with the fact that you don't know their language. It's like it's a total put off to them or an insult to them. If you come here and learn our language. Now, ironically, since my wife told me that like 21 years ago, a lot of Europe has been overrun with immigrants, and they are having quite the conundrum as well. My brother-in-law used to tell me I was pretty much nuts and a conspiracy theorist 15 years ago when I was talking about this kind of stuff, and now look at what they get to deal with and the crime that's associated with people that believe, honestly, they're already living in lawlessness, so why not go bigger? Think about that. Again, who do the laws apply to? They are applying to law-abiding citizens, not the people that break the law. In Europe, when I was there, I couldn't get off a plane without signing documentation saying how long I'm going to be there. And it makes it very clear, if you're there for a little bit longer, you need to do this, this, and this to get these type of visas, whether it be a vacation visa or a work visa, right? Why aren't we doing that in our country? I think this law is great. Now, she says she wishes that the rule known as Ordinance 5165 accomplished more, but still supports it. It's something that we have in our toolbox, she said. If we have a big problem, we can fall back on it, and they can enforce that ordinance. The factories need workers, however, and the migrants have kept coming. By 2022, a town that was once nearly all white has become 16% Latino, according to census data, and the number has risen since. Most arrivals are from Guatemala. The Guatemalan consulate in Omaha says there are at least 2,020 Guatemalans in Fremont, and the true figure could be 45% higher. Again, because they're not filling out the documentation. Maria Hernandez and her husband, Vincent, pastors of one of the local Guatemalan churches, said that their flock has grown three congregations to 207 years. They say many members work at the slaughterhouses, making it a frequent topic of prayer. I tell them that we have to give thanks because God has put in men who have companies, Maria said. If it weren't for these companies, we wouldn't have a job. With Hispanic migrants, although it is hard, although it is heavy, they endure, said Vincent. Between the church and the plant, he says he gets 3 hours of sleep at night. These are very physical jobs, Jensen said, and a lot of it's hard work, and it's not something a lot of people want to do. I completely agree with that. However, I believe that you need to have the proper documentation. In 2021, a fraudulent document ring was uncovered in Fremont. Federal investigators found hundreds of counterfeit federal and state identity cards, according to court filings just last month. 4 slaughterhouse workers were charged with using other people's social security numbers. Glenn Edwall, who investigated the cases as head of Nebraska's Department of Motor Vehicles fraud unit, said he wasn't surprised that they were in Fremont. Let me speak to that. That happened with my construction company in California. It's a massive problem. Illegals illegally obtaining fraudulent social security numbers, and think about the implications. You're using someone else's social security number, and then you're not paying your tax. You're claiming the most to where most dependents, you're getting as much back as possible, and then some other person, some other American, whether dead or alive, is getting hit with that tax bill. This is absolutely atrocious. On top of that, without filling out the proper documentation and having the proper visas, there's no way for the government to track what's going on if we have a serious problem or not. This is why this has to be done properly. Also, on top of that, we see this all the time with vehicles, in vehicle accidents, where the vehicle is not even registered. They buy a vehicle, they're not documented to be citizens. The last thing they want to do is pay registration fees, smog fees and stuff, and they just roll until they get caught. And that's why you see them driving, illegal immigrants driving super, super slow on the freeways. They're scared crapless of getting pulled over by a cop. They get in an accident. These are uninsured motorists, causing our insurance costs to go up. You see where all of this really becomes a compounding issue. I wanted to bring you this story because I believe that this isn't just about one small town in Nebraska. It's about small towns all over the country. And it's going to be bigger. It's going to be a bigger story coming into 2025. Hope you got something out of this. The Economic Ninja is out.